This week at UFC 290 in Las Vegas, Alexander Volkanovski will defend his title against interim champion Yair Rodríguez in the main event of the night. Hello fighters! World of MMA with you. In this video, I will give a prediction on the fight between Alexander Volkanovski and Yair Rodríguez. Will the challenger be able to stop the dominant champion, or will Volkanovski once again prevail in dominant fashion? You'll find out all that in today's video. But before you start, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like it so you don't miss the next videos. Here we go. Alex Volkanovski is an Australian with Macedonian roots, as you can easily guess from his last name. And his story is familiar to all MMA fans, but in case you don't know, here are the basics. Alex was engaged in Greco-Roman wrestling as a child, and later played rugby on a semi-professional level, and even became the best player of his rugby league. More importantly, however, he weighed almost a centner at the time. Naturally, after moving to MMA, Volkanovski began to actively lose weight. He came to UFC as a lightweight with 13-1 record, but after making his debut in the elite, he moved down to the lower division. 6 wins was enough for Alex to get a title fight against Holloway. Opting for a luxury game plan, the Australian took the title from Max, but a rematch took place 6 months later. Once again a close fight, but before Bruce Buffer named the winner, few doubted the Hawaiian would win. Nevertheless, referees in UFC is a separate problem. The head of the organization, Dana White, spoke about it more than once and asked the journalists their opinion at the press conference. Everyone was unanimous in their opinion Max was robbed. Volkanovski takes a break for over a year, returns in September 2021 and rolls up a great fight against Ortega, keeping his belt. Everyone was expecting a third fight against Holloway, but the American got injured and had to find a replacement. The Korean Zombie was the replacement, but the once impenetrable fighter was beaten early in the 4th round, and it became clear that the third fight against the former champion was around the corner. Options for how Alex and Max's third meeting would play out were varied, but hardly anyone assumed that Holloway wouldn't be able to impose competition, and the judge's verdict would be 50-45 in favor of Volkanovski and would not raise any questions. After a dominant defense, Alexander moved up in weight to become the double champion. He was opposed by the lightweight division champion Islam Makhachev. The fight turned out to the surprise of many competitors. Makhachev won with a small advantage. Thus Volkanovski suffered his first loss in the UFC. Maybe if he had faced Oliveira when he was champion, he would have had a chance to become a double champion. But that's not going to happen soon. Yair Rodríguez, at the age of 21, was invited to participate in the 14th season of the Ultimate Fighter TV show. The Panther was on the team of Cain Velasquez, and after a while he could replace the former heavyweight division champion as the top Mexican star. Rodríguez's record before the show was 5-1, but he won the season pretty easily, naturally getting a contract with Dana White's organization. Yair was not spared and was pitted against serious opponents. Charles Rosa, Dan Hooker, Andre Fili, Alex Caceres, all those guys are still in the UFC, which is saying a lot. All of these guys Rodríguez defeated, concurrently earning 3 bonuses. The Mexican made the extra 50.000 on the next fight, where he crushed the former champion BJ Penn in the beginning of the 2nd round. Such a successful stretch elevated the Panther to number 7 in the featherweight division, and his next fight was a contender, as well as against the toughest and most famous opponent of his career. Frankie Edgar had 10 minutes enough to expose the problems of the striking striker, and Yair was not released by doctors for the 3rd round. His first promotion loss, a 1.5-year pause, and a comeback against the Korean Zombie. The fight of the year and knockout of the year, and possibly the best in mixed martial arts history, Rodríguez pulled off a real miracle at the last second. Since then almost 4 years passed. The fight against Zabit Magomedsharipov never took place. Now Zabit finished his career. For that, the Panther fought 3 times, first twice against Jeremy Stephens. In his first fight the Mexican poked his opponent in the eye on the 15th second, and the American could not continue the fight. A month later the fighters met again, Yair wins and also gets another bonus. In 9 fights, Rodriguez has earned 7 bonuses, which speaks better than any words about his spectacle. The Mexican has been absent for 2 years and is back, getting the toughest fight of his career. In the fall of 2021, Max Holloway and The Panther put on a show. The bonus was not even an issue, both fighters got it. Rodriguez lost, but reaffirmed his superior class after such a long downtime. Yair then faced off against number 2 ranked Brian Ortega, where he won by TKO. After that, he gets a chance to fight for the interim title against Josh Emmett, the knockout fighter. In a spectacular fight, Panther was able to choke the American and become the interim featherweight champion. Let's start with Alex Volkanovski's striking technique. He shows that he is improving with every fight. Compared to his second fight with Holloway, he declassified him in the trilogy after that outboxed the Korean Zombie and Ortega. Alex gave the hardest fight to Islam and almost knocked him out. He does a great job with the jab and the low kick. In the trilogy with Max, he outboxed him in his own elements. Now let's move on to Yair Rodriguez's punching technique. Panther is one of the best punchers in the featherweight division. He has fantastic footwork. He also has a knockout punch. In his fight with Holloway, gave the Hawaiian a tough fight in the stand-up. In his last fight, he nearly knocked Josh out. But I'd still say Alex Volkanovski is the favorite. Yair doesn't have a great defense, and the Aussie is a good match for him. Let's start with Yair Rodriguez's wrestling. He was trained in judo and grappling. He has a lot of submissions in his arsenal and he knows how to move to the ground. Quite a number of times he defeated his opponents by submissions. You don't have to look for a long example. Let's look back at his last fight against Josh Emmett. In the first round, although he was down, from there he punched with an elbow and did a lot of damage to the American. In the second round, after a flying knee, Josh moved him to the canvas where he got caught in a triangle. All in all, you can't underestimate his wrestling. Now let's move on to Alex's wrestling. Volkanovski showed in his last fight that he defends well against takedowns and is as good as Islam, who is one of the best wrestlers in the UFC. He survived against Ortega's chokes, where everyone thought he was about to give up. If I have to pick a favorite, I'm going to pick the Aussie again, as he'll defend against takedowns 100% of the time, and will take Yair to the canvas himself if necessary. I think Alex Volkanovski will win this fight by decision of the judges. I don't think he'll be able to finish the Mexican unless there's an injury. What do you think, friends? Write your thoughts in the comments. See you all later.